The whispers of war. In the vast emptiness of space, the Meridian Empire's long-range reconnaissance vessel drifted silently at the edge of the Sol system. Captain Vexnor, his crystalline skin refracting the dim starlight, studied the holographic display of the third planet with 6 golden eyes. Earth, a beautiful blue marble suspended in space, teeming with life and resources. Primitive, he muttered, manipulating the display to zoom in on the scattered satellites and basic space stations orbiting the planet. Their technological development suggests early space-age civilization. No quantum signatures, no antimatter reactors, not even basic gravity manipulation. His second-in-command, Lieutenant Kirevel, approached with a data crystal. The Emperor will be pleased. The planet's resources alone would fuel our expansion for centuries. And the indigenous species. She paused, bringing up images of human cities. They show promise as potential servants. What the Meridians couldn't detect, hidden beneath the surface of human civilization, was the truth. In a deep underground facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Sarah Chen stood before a wall of quantum-encrypted displays, monitoring the alien vessel's every movement. The facility, known only to a select few as Project Sentinel, represented humanity's best-kept secret. "They've taken the bait," she announced to the assembled military leaders. "Our primitive facade is holding. The quantum dampeners are masking our true technological signature perfectly." General Marcus Rodriguez, a veteran of Earth's hidden space force, nodded grimly. "How long until their main fleet arrives?" Sarah manipulated the holographic display, showing projected trajectories based on data collected from the dormant monitoring systems humanity had scattered throughout the galaxy decades ago. 3 months, maximum. They're already mobilizing their invasion force. The truth about humanity's technological advancement was Earth's greatest secret. For over 50 years, since the first alien probe crashed in the Gobi Desert, humanity had been preparing. That crash site had yielded more than just advanced technology. It had provided a warning. The galaxy was not a peaceful place, and Earth lay in the path of an expanding empire. Rather than announce their discoveries to the world, a coalition of global powers had made an unprecedented decision. Earth would appear to develop normally, maintaining the facade of a young civilization taking its first steps into space. Meanwhile, beneath the surface, humanity would prepare. The crashed probe had contained a quantum computer core that revolutionized human understanding of physics. Reverse engineering its technology had led to breakthroughs in propulsion, energy generation, and weapons systems. But humanity hadn't stopped there. They had improved upon the alien designs, creating hybrid technologies that merged human ingenuity with alien advancement. "Show me the latest tests of the quantum mesh defense system," Sarah requested. The display shifted to show a massive network of satellites, invisible to conventional sensors, that encircled the Earth. Each node contained technology that the Meridians would consider impossible for humans to possess. "The mesh is operating at 98% efficiency," her assistant reported. "The quantum entanglement grid is stable, and the AI defense systems are fully integrated. We can have the entire network online in less than 3 minutes." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. The Meridians, like many advanced civilizations, had become complacent in their technological superiority. They relied on their advanced sensors and weapons, never considering that a primitive species might have found ways to bypass them entirely. "Begin Phase 2, she ordered. "Activate the Deep Space Monitoring Network. I want to know every move their fleet makes as they approach. And contact the Artemis base on the far side of the moon. Tell them to begin manufacturing additional quantum torpedoes." As the orders went out, Sarah thought about the irony of the situation. The Meridians believed they were about to conquer a helpless world. Instead, they were about to learn a harsh lesson about underestimating humanity. Earth's apparent weakness was its greatest strength, an illusion crafted over decades of patient preparation. The game of deception was about to enter its final phase, and humanity was ready. They had spent 50 years preparing for this moment. building technologies that even the Meridians couldn't imagine. The coming conflict would reshape the balance of power in the galaxy, but not in the way the Meridian Empire expected. In the depths of space, Captain Vexner's ship began its journey back to the Empire, carrying its report of an easily conquered world. Behind it, Earth's quantum sensors tracked its every move, while beneath the surface, humanity's real fleet waited in hidden bases, crews trained and ready for the coming storm. The whispers of war were growing louder, but only humanity knew the true sound of the approaching thunder. Continued in Part 2. First Contact Deception. The Meridian diplomatic vessel descended through Earth's atmosphere with calculated grandeur, its crystalline hull catching the sunlight in a deliberate display of technological superiority. Ambassador Trelnock stood at the command center, his iridescent scales gleaming with anticipation as they approached the designated landing site outside the United Nations headquarters in New York. "Remember," he addressed his crew, "we must maintain the pretense of peaceful contact. Let these primitives believe they have a choice in their submission to the Empire." On the ground, Dr. Sarah Chen watched the approach from within a conventional military command center. The public one, not the quantum-shielded facility deep beneath the Rockies. She wore the uniform of a standard military advisor, nothing that would hint at her true role as humanity's chief defense strategist. The landing was a spectacle designed to awe humanity. The Meridian ship touched down with perfect precision, its energy field creating a subtle light show that drew gasps from the assembled crowd. As the ambassador emerged, flanked by his guards, Sarah studied their equipment with careful eyes. Every piece of their technology was being scanned by hidden sensors, adding to Earth's already substantial database of Meridian capabilities. "Welcome to Earth," the UN Secretary-General greeted them, following the carefully rehearsed protocol. "We are honored by your presence." Ambassador Trelnock's translator converted his resonant speech into human languages. "The Meridian Empire extends its greetings to your world. We have watched your development with great interest and believe the time has come to welcome you into the galactic community." The diplomatic dance began. Over the next several weeks, the Meridians presented themselves as benevolent mentors, offering glimpses of advanced technology while carefully assessing Earth's capabilities. They visited major cities, met with world leaders, and conducted what they believed were thorough scans of human military installations. What they saw satisfied their preconceptions: a planet with rudimentary spaceflight, nuclear fission power, and primitive AI systems. Exactly what their initial scans had suggested. The humans appeared appropriately awed by Meridian technology, asking questions that confirmed their technological naivety. But beneath the surface, Earth was far from naive. In secure facilities around the world, quantum computers analyzed every piece of data gathered from the Meridian delegation. Their weapons, their shields, their communication systems, all were being compared against humanity's own advanced systems, refined through decades of secret development. During a private moment in her secure office, Sarah received a coded transmission from one of her hidden research teams. "The analysis of their shield harmonics is complete," the message read. "Our quantum torpedoes can bypass them with 99.8% efficiency. Their technology hasn't advanced significantly beyond what we learned from the crashed probe." The Meridians' arrogance was working in humanity's favor. They were so convinced of their superiority that they never thought to look deeper, never considered that the humans might be hiding their true capabilities. Their scans, advanced as they were, looked for known signs of technological development, signs that humanity had carefully learned to mask. Ambassador Trelnock grew increasingly confident in his reports to the Empire. "These humans are perfectly positioned for conquest," he wrote. "Their technology is primitive, but their infrastructure is well developed. They will make excellent additions to the Empire once properly subjugated." But he wasn't completely without suspicion. During a tour of an experimental human space station, something caught his attention. "Your progress in artificial gravity is impressive for your level of development," he commented to Sarah, who had been assigned as his guide. "We've been fortunate in our research," she replied smoothly, "though it's nothing compared to your own capabilities." The ambassador's 6 eyes narrowed slightly. "Indeed. Yet I noticed subtle variations in the gravitational field that seem unusual for such early technology." Sarah maintained her calm demeanor, but internally, she made a note. The ambassador was more perceptive than they'd anticipated. The gravitational irregularities were actually from the quantum stabilizers hidden within the station's structure, technology far beyond what Earth was supposed to possess. "Our scientists are still refining the system," she explained. "It's not as stable as we'd like." The ambassador seemed to accept this, but Sarah knew they'd need to be more careful. The deception had to be maintained for just a few more weeks until the Meridian Empire committed their invasion fleet. Everything hinged on the element of surprise. In the hidden facility beneath the Rockies, preparation continued. The quantum mesh defense system was fully operational, disguised as simple communication satellites. The fleet of advanced warships waited in underground bases and lunar facilities, their crews training constantly. The automated drone swarms were ready for deployment, their quantum AI systems far more sophisticated than anything the Meridians possessed. As Sarah watched the ambassador's ship depart Earth for another report to his superiors, she knew the next phase would begin soon. The Meridians would abandon their diplomatic pretense and launch their invasion, confident in their superior numbers and technology, and humanity would be ready. "Begin final preparation sequences," she ordered through secure channels. "The deception won't hold much longer." The pieces were in place. The greatest surprise in galactic history was about to unfold, and only humanity knew what was coming. Continued in Part 3. The storm breaks. The Meridian invasion fleet emerged from hyperspace in perfect formation, 10,000 ships strong, their crystalline hulls creating a spectacular light show against the backdrop of space. Admiral Venthor stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Pride of Empire, watching as Earth grew larger in their view screens. "Begin the attack sequence," he commanded. "Show these primitives the true might of the Meridian Empire." The first wave of Meridian ships moved into position, their weapon systems charging. On their sensors, Earth's defenses appeared pathetically inadequate. A handful of primitive satellites, a few small space stations, and some rudimentary orbital defense platforms. In her command center deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Sarah Chen watched the Meridian fleet's approach on quantum-enhanced displays. Around her, the command staff worked with calm efficiency, their years of training evident in their focused demeanor. "They're deploying exactly as our simulations predicted," she noted. "Time to show them what humanity is really capable of." She gave a slight nod to General Rodriguez. "Execute Operation Revelation." The general pressed his palm against a quantum-secured console. Authentication confirmed. Deploying quantum mesh defense grid. Across Earth orbit, thousands of seemingly innocent satellites suddenly transformed. The quantum camouflage that had hidden their true nature dissolved, revealing advanced weapon platforms and defense systems. The primitive orbital stations shimmered and changed, their outer shells falling away to reveal state-of-the-art battle stations. Admiral Venthor's first indication that something was wrong came when his sensors suddenly screamed warnings. Where moments before they had detected only primitive technology, now they were registering energy signatures that should have been impossible for humans to achieve. "Impossible," he breathed, watching as the holographic display updated with thousands of new threats. "Their technology. It can't be." Before he could complete his thought, the first wave of Earth's counterattack began. The quantum mesh defense grid activated, creating an interlocking network of energy fields that disrupted Meridian targeting systems. From the dark side of the moon, humanity's hidden fleet emerged, sleek, angular vessels that bore little resemblance to their public space program ships. All ships, battle formations. Venthor ordered, but the humans weren't fighting according to any conventional tactics he recognized. Their vessels moved in patterns that seemed chaotic, but were actually coordinated by quantum AI systems far more advanced than Meridian combat computers. The first salvos from Earth's defense grid struck with devastating precision. Quantum torpedoes phased through Meridian shields as if they didn't exist, their warheads detonating with perfectly calculated force. Swarms of autonomous drones, each powered by a miniature quantum core, overwhelmed Meridian Point defense systems. In the command center, Sarah watched as the battle unfolded according to plans decades in the making. "Deploy the Artemis Protocol," she ordered. Across the solar system, hidden weapons platforms activated. Automated factories on Mercury burst from beneath the planet's surface, launching waves of solar-powered drone fighters. Bases on Mars revealed themselves, firing gravitational disruption beams that tore Meridian ships apart at the atomic level. Admiral Venthor watched in horror as his mighty fleet began to crumble. Their weapons, they're using principles we've never seen before. How could they have developed this technology in secret? The answer, of course, was human ingenuity combined with decades of preparation. The quantum technology reverse-engineered from the crashed probe had been just the beginning. Human scientists had taken those principles and developed them in directions the Meridians had never imagined. "We're not just using your technology," Sarah murmured as she watched the battle unfold. "We've surpassed it." The pride of empire shuddered as another quantum torpedo struck home. "We must retreat," Venthor ordered. "All ships, emergency hyperspace jump." But even retreat wasn't as simple as the Meridians expected. Earth's quantum mesh grid had created localized distortions in spacetime, making hyperspace calculations dangerously unreliable. Ships that attempted to jump found themselves torn apart or flung off course. "Your attention, please," Sarah's voice broadcast across all frequencies, translated perfectly into Meridian language. "Your fleet is surrounded and outgunned. Your hyperspace capabilities have been neutralized. We suggest you consider surrender." In the silence that followed, the Meridian admiral stared at the tactical display in disbelief. Half his fleet was already destroyed or disabled. The humans' weapons struck with impossible precision. Their defenses proved impenetrable to Meridian technology, and their tactics demonstrated a level of coordination that shouldn't have been possible. "How?" he transmitted back. "You were primitive. We saw your technology level." "You saw what we wanted you to see," Sarah replied. "Humanity learned long ago that appearing weak while being strong was the greatest tactical advantage of all." As the battle entered its final phase, the true extent of humanity's preparation became clear. This wasn't just a defensive victory. It was a complete reversal of everything the Meridians thought they knew about human civilization. The storm had broken, but it wasn't the storm the Meridians had expected. Instead of crushing a primitive civilization, they had awakened a technological giant that had been waiting patiently in the shadows, preparing for this very moment. Continued in Part 4, Counterattack. In the aftermath of the initial battle, Earth's orbital space was littered with the crystalline debris of Meridian warships. The pride of empire, once the magnificent flagship of the invasion fleet, now drifted powerless, surrounded by human vessels that seemed to fade in and out of sensor range at will. Dr. Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the Earth ship Prometheus, humanity's most advanced vessel, watching as rescue pods were collected from the disabled Meridian ships. The Prometheus represented everything humanity had achieved in secret, a perfect fusion of reverse-engineered alien technology and human innovation. "Status report," she commanded, her voice calm despite the historic nature of the moment. 70% of the Meridian fleet has been neutralized, her tactical officer reported. "The remaining vessels are trapped by our quantum mesh grid. We're detecting multiple distress calls being broadcast toward Meridian space." Sarah nodded. Those distress calls were exactly what she had been waiting for. Begin Phase 2. Deploy the Genesis Protocol. Throughout the solar system, hidden quantum arrays activated. These devices, carefully positioned over decades, began transmitting signals that propagated through subspace at speeds the Meridians had thought impossible. The messages reached Earth's secretly established outposts in nearby star systems, triggering the next phase of humanity's long-term strategy. Admiral Venthor, now a prisoner on his own bridge, watched in growing horror as his tactical displays showed new human fleets emerging in systems that should have been secure Meridian territory. How far does your influence extend? Would you like to see? Sarah asked, stepping onto the Pride of Empires bridge. She gestured, and a holographic display materialized, showing the true extent of human preparation. Secret bases in asteroid belts, automated manufacturing facilities, hidden in gas giant atmospheres, quantum communication relays disguised as natural phenomena. Humanity's reach extended far beyond what anyone had suspected. While you watched our public space program launch chemical rockets, Sarah explained, our real ships were exploring the galaxy. While you monitored our primitive satellites, our quantum probes were mapping your empire. We've been preparing for this moment for 50 years. The Meridian Admiral's crystalline skin had lost its luster. Why maintain such deception? Why not simply announce your presence to the galaxy? Sarah's expression remained neutral. Because humanity learned from our own history. When technologically advanced civilizations encounter less developed ones, the results are rarely beneficial for the latter. We chose to advance in secret, to be ready when the galaxy finally noticed us. On quantum-encrypted channels, reports were coming in from across Meridian space. Earth's hidden fleets were systematically neutralizing military installations and shipyards. But they weren't destroying them. Instead, human ships were using precisely calibrated quantum fields to disable Meridian technology while leaving infrastructure intact. You're not seeking revenge, Venthor realized, watching the tactical displays. This isn't about destruction. No, Sarah confirmed. This is about survival and establishing a new balance of power. Humanity has no interest in empire building or subjugation. We simply refuse to be subjugated ourselves. The human counteroffensive moved with precision and purpose. Quantum drives allowed their ships to appear seemingly at will throughout Meridian space. Their weapons could disable rather than destroy. Their defense systems rendered Meridian technology nearly useless, and their tactical AI systems coordinated movements with impossible precision. But it was the psychological impact that proved most devastating to Meridian morale. The revelation that a supposedly primitive species had not only matched but surpassed their technology shattered centuries of Meridian superiority. The empire that had thought itself invincible found itself helpless against an enemy they had grievously underestimated. In the Meridian capital, the Imperial Council watched in stunned silence as reports flooded in. Their mighty empire, which had dominated this sector of the galaxy for millennia, had been outmaneuvered by a species they had dismissed as primitives. The humans hadn't just defeated their fleet, they had revealed themselves as a technological superpower that had been hiding in plain sight. Back on the Prometheus, Sarah reviewed the latest strategic updates. Earth's quantum mesh technology was being deployed throughout Meridian space, creating a network that could detect and counter any attempted military response. The message to the galaxy was clear. Humanity would not be conquered, but neither would they become conquerors. What happens now? Venthor asked, his voice carrying the weight of his people's shattered confidence. Sarah turned to him, her expression softening slightly. Now we negotiate. As equals, humanity is ready to share some of our advancements to help establish a more balanced and peaceful galaxy. But first, your empire needs to understand that the age of conquest is over. The counteroffensive had achieved its objectives without resorting to wholesale destruction. Humanity had demonstrated both its power and its restraint, setting the stage for a fundamental shift in galactic politics. The species that had been dismissed as primitive had revealed itself to be anything but, and the galaxy would never be the same. Continued in Part 5. A New Dawn. 1 year after the failed invasion of Earth, the galactic landscape had changed dramatically. The Great Hall of the newly established Galactic Concordat buzzed with activity as representatives from dozens of species gathered for the historic First General Assembly. At the center of it all stood Dr. Sarah Chen, now Earth's primary representative to the interstellar community. The Meridian Empire's former palace had been transformed into a center for diplomatic cooperation. Where once crystalline thrones had dominated, now stood circular discussion chambers designed for equality. The message was clear. The age of imperial dominance had given way to an era of collaboration. The human approach to technological advancement was unprecedented, admitted Trelnox, the former ambassador now serving as the Meridian representative. His once proud bearing had been replaced by a more measured demeanor. In our arrogance, we assumed technological progress followed a predictable path. We were wrong. Sarah stood at the central podium, addressing the assembled representatives. Earth's emergence onto the galactic stage was not what anyone expected, including us. We chose secrecy not out of fear, but out of prudence. Now we choose openness not out of pride, but out of hope. The changes rippling through galactic society were profound. Humanity's quantum mesh technology had been selectively shared, creating a defensive network that made large-scale military aggression virtually impossible. The age of imperial expansion had effectively ended, replaced by a new era of technological and cultural exchange. But perhaps the most significant change was philosophical. The revelation of humanity's hidden advancement had forced many species to confront their own prejudices and assumptions. The concept of primitive versus advanced civilizations had been thoroughly appended. The greatest lesson, Sarah continued, is that progress doesn't follow a single path. While the Meridian Empire focused on perfecting their crystalline technology, humanity explored quantum mechanics. While others reached for the stars in gleaming ships, we built in secret and learned from every species we encountered. In Earth orbit, the facade of primitive technology had been dropped. The quantum mesh network was now visible, its advanced nodes maintaining peace through deterrence rather than secrecy. Human ships openly displayed their capabilities, serving as a reminder of the futility of military aggression. Admiral Venthor, now serving as a military liaison to the Concordat, watched a joint training exercise between human and Meridian ships. "Your species has changed everything," he observed to Sarah, "not through conquest, but through preparation and restraint." "Humanity learned from our own history," Sarah replied, watching the ships maneuver in formation. Every time a technologically advanced society encountered a less developed one on Earth, the results were devastating for the latter. We were determined not to let that happen to us. The exercise demonstrated the new reality. Human quantum technology worked alongside Meridian crystalline systems, each complementing the other's strengths. The former empire's military forces were being repurposed for defense and peaceful exploration, their centuries of experience finding new purpose in cooperative ventures. In research centers across Earth and former Meridian space, scientists from both species worked together, exploring new technological frontiers. The combination of human innovation and Meridian experience led to breakthroughs that neither species could have achieved alone. "We never wanted to be conquerors," Sarah explained to a group of young diplomats from various species. "We wanted to be ready. Ready to defend ourselves, ready to negotiate as equals, and ready to contribute to a better galaxy." The human approach had created a new model for emerging civilizations. Several younger spacefaring species had already begun establishing diplomatic relations with Earth, seeking guidance on balanced technological development and peaceful integration into the galactic community. As the assembly session concluded, Sarah stood with representatives from a dozen species, watching the Earth rise over the horizon of their host planet. The view was no longer one of potential conquest or defense, but of shared opportunity and collaborative potential. "The stars have always called to us," she reflected. But it was never about reaching them first or claiming them for ourselves. It was about being ready to join a larger community, on our own terms. The galaxy was entering a new age. The revelation of humanity's hidden strength had broken cycles of conquest and subjugation that had persisted for millennia. In their place grew something new. The coalition of species united not by force or fear, but by mutual respect and shared aspirations. As night fell on the Concordat's capital, the crystalline spires of the former imperial palace shimmered with a different light. Where once they had represented the power of empire, they now stood as monuments to change, to the moment when humanity's patient preparation had transformed not just their own future, but the future of all spacefaring species. The dawn of this new era had come not with the thunder of conquest, but with the quiet revelation of strength held in reserve. Humanity had changed the galaxy not by following the expected path, but by charting their own course through the stars. The end. The Silent Guardians. Admiral Elena Santos stood at the observation deck of Lunar Base Alpha, her eyes fixed on the gleaming blue marble of Earth below. 50 years had passed since humanity's first contact with the Veil Collective, and 30 since the implementation of Project Aegis. The weight of responsibility pressed heavily on her shoulders. She was one of only 12 people in the solar system who knew the full truth. "Admiral, the Veil diplomatic vessel is approaching," announced Captain Chen through the quantum comm. Their credentials matched previous protocols. Santos allowed herself a small smile. The Veil always followed protocols to the letter, never suspecting that every diplomatic visit, every trade agreement, and every cultural exchange was carefully orchestrated. Earth's apparent technological inferiority was perhaps humanity's greatest achievement in deception. Deep beneath the lunar surface, quantum computers more advanced than anything the Veil had ever seen processed data from countless hidden sensors across the galaxy. The massive facility, officially designated as a simple research station, housed the nerve center of humanity's true military might. "Permission granted for docking," Santos responded, maintaining the practiced tone of a minor military official. "Ensure our guests are treated with appropriate courtesy." The Veil ship approached with characteristic grace, its crystalline structure catching sunlight in ways that still inspired awe among Earth's population. What the aliens didn't know was that human scientists had already developed materials far superior to their crystalline technology. They just kept that knowledge carefully hidden. Ambassador Zarin of the Veil Collective emerged from their ship, their translucent form shifting in the artificial gravity. "Admiral Santos, we bring greetings from the Collective." Their melodic voice carried the subtle undertone of superiority that Santos had learned to recognize over years of interaction. "Welcome back to Luna, Ambassador," Santos replied, playing her role perfectly. "We're honored by your visit." As they walked through the base's corridors, Zarin commented on the quaint human technology, never noticing that the seemingly primitive sensor arrays were actually gathering detailed data about Veil biology and technology with every step. "We've been most impressed with humanity's progress," Zarin said, their tone carrying that familiar patronizing note. "Though you still have far to go, the Collective believes you show promise." Santos nodded graciously while suppressing a knowing smile. Deep below their feet, in chambers unknown to the Veil, humanity's true technological achievements waited. Quantum-locked storage units held weapons that could reshape reality itself, while automated factories constructed ships that could outmaneuver anything in the known galaxy. The tour continued, with Zarin making the usual diplomatic overtures about technological exchange programs that would help humanity advance. Santos knew the truth. These programs were designed to keep humanity dependent on Veil technology, while monitoring their development. What the Veil never suspected was that each piece of their advanced technology given to humans was immediately reverse-engineered, improved upon, and incorporated into Project Aegis. Every patronizing lesson they offered was absorbed and transformed into something far beyond their understanding. As the day drew to a close, Santos received an encrypted quantum transmission in her neural implant, technology the Veil believed humans were centuries away from developing. The message was brief but critical. Motion detected in the outer rim. Pattern match. 97%. Timeline acceleration may be required. Santos maintained her diplomatic smile while her mind raced. The Veil were moving earlier than expected, but humanity was ready. Project Aegis had been preparing for this moment for 3 decades. "Ambassador," Santos said, her voice carefully modulated, "we look forward to continuing our peaceful relationship with the Collective." As Zarin's ship departed, Santos activated her secure link to Earth's Defense Council. Signal detected. Begin Phase 1 of Operation Washfire. Across the solar system, hidden facilities hummed to life. In the asteroid belt, massive construction yards shed their camouflage fields for system checks. Beneath Mars' polar ice caps, weapon systems beyond anything the Veil could imagine powered up for testing. Humanity had learned from Earth's history the price of unpreparedness, the danger of trusting too easily. They had smiled and bowed and played the part of the promising young species, all while building the greatest defensive network the galaxy had ever seen. The Veil thought they were watching humanity's development. They never realized they were the ones being watched, studied, and prepared for. As Santos looked out at the stars, she knew that humanity's greatest test was approaching. And they were ready. The game of deception was nearly over. Soon, the galaxy would learn that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in the technology they displayed, but in the power they kept hidden. Shattered peace. The attack came without warning. Proxima Colony's defense systems detected the Veil warships moments before they dropped out of quantum space, their crystalline hulls glowing with charged weapons. Commander Maya Rodriguez watched from the colony's control center as dozens of ships emerged from the void, far more than any peaceful diplomatic mission would require. All civilians to shelter immediately, she ordered, her voice steady despite the surge of adrenaline. Initiate Protocol Omega. As emergency sirens wailed across the colony, Rodriguez activated a quantum communications channel that officially didn't exist. Control, this is Proxima. We have visitors. The Veil ships moved with predatory grace, spreading out in attack formation. Their first communication came on all frequencies. Primitive species require guidance. Resistance will only increase the necessary correction. Rodriguez allowed herself a grim smile as she triggered the colony's defensive protocols, not the basic shields the Veil knew about, but the real ones. The aliens' first volley of energy weapons splashed harmlessly against quantum-reinforced barriers that shouldn't have existed. In orbit, automated defense platforms that had masqueraded as simple communications relays revealed their true nature. Advanced targeting systems acquired locks on the Veil ships while maintaining their disguise as primitive technology. This is your final warning, the Veil commander transmitted. Submit to collective authority or face extinction. Rodriguez's response was simple: no. The battle that followed would later be studied in military academies across human space. The Veil, confident in their technological superiority, pressed their attack with arrogant precision. Their ships moved in formations designed to overwhelm what they thought were primitive human defenses. Instead, they found themselves facing technology that matched and exceeded their own. Quantum-tipped missiles phased through their shields. Energy weapons they thought humans incapable of developing carved through their hull armor. Deep within Proxima Colony's bunkers, Rodriguez coordinated with Earth Command. The Veil Task Force is fully committed, she reported. All pieces are in position. Admiral Santos's voice came through the quantum link. Understood, Commander. Operation Prometheus is authorized. Show them what humanity can really do. Rodriguez activated systems that had lain dormant for decades. Across Proxima Colony, seemingly decorative structures revealed themselves as weapon platforms, far beyond anything the Veil had ever encountered. The colony's central spire, thought to be a simple administrative building, split apart to reveal a massive quantum cannon. Target their command ship, Rodriguez ordered. Let's give them something to think about. The quantum cannon fired, its beam cutting through space in ways that defied conventional physics. The Veil flagship's supposedly impenetrable shields shattered like glass, its crystalline hull cracking under forces it was never designed to withstand. Panic spread through the Veil fleet as they realized the terrible truth. They hadn't been attacking a defenseless colony. They had walked into a trap decades in the making. Every building, every structure, even the colony's layout itself had been designed for this moment. This is impossible, the Veil commander transmitted, their usual arrogance replaced by fear. Your species is not capable of this level of technology. Rodriguez's response was cold. You should have asked yourselves why we seemed so willing to remain technologically inferior. Did you really think humanity would leave its colonies defenseless? As the battle turned decisively in humanity's favor, Rodriguez received new orders from Earth Command. Phase 2 is authorized. Launch the quantum beacon. From hidden silos beneath Proxima's surface, dozens of small, sleek vessels emerged. They accelerated to impossible speeds, scattering in all directions through quantum space. Each carried the same message to humanity's other colonies and hidden military installations. The Veil had shown their true nature. The time for hiding was over. The Veil fleet attempted to retreat, but found their quantum drives mysteriously malfunctioning. Human technology they had dismissed as primitive was now interfering with their most basic systems. You attacked us believing we were weak, Rodriguez transmitted to the remaining Veil ships. That was your first mistake. Your second was giving us time to prepare. We've been ready for this day for 30 years. As the last Veil ship surrendered, Rodriguez sent her final report to Earth Command. Proxima secure. The deception is over. Operation Prometheus is ready to proceed. Across human space, hidden facilities began powering up. Ships that had masqueraded as simple freighters and transports revealed their true nature. The greatest military force humanity had ever created was awakening, and the galaxy was about to learn just how dangerous it was to underestimate Earth. Operation Prometheus. Fleet Admiral Victor Chen stood on the bridge of the TSS Hyperion, watching as Earth's hidden armada emerged from its decades-long slumber. Throughout the Sol system, massive doors opened in asteroid bases, gas giant storms parted to reveal shipyards, and orbital platforms shed their civilian disguises. Status report. Chen commanded, his voice carrying across the quantum-linked command network. All battle groups reporting ready, Admiral, his XO responded. Operation Prometheus is proceeding exactly as planned. The Veil still hasn't detected our main fleet formations. On his neural display, Chen watched as thousands of ships took their positions. Each vessel represented decades of careful preparation, incorporating technologies that humanity had not only reverse-engineered from the Veil, but had improved upon in ways the aliens had never imagined. Signal from Earth Defense Command, the communications officer announced. Admiral Santos is online. Santos' hologram appeared on the bridge, her expression grave. The Veil have taken the bait, Victor. Their main fleet is mobilizing exactly as our predictive model suggested. They're moving to crush what they believe is our only defended colony. Chen allowed himself a small smile. How many ships are they committing? 5,000 vessels. Their entire rapid response force. They still think Proxima Colony's defense was a fluke, some hidden cache of advanced technology rather than proof of our true capabilities. Perfect. Chen turned to his tactical display. All fleet elements. Execute attack pattern theta. Let's show them what humanity has been hiding all these years. Across the Sol system, humanity's hidden fleet began to move. Ships equipped with quantum drives far more advanced than anything the Veil possessed accelerated to speeds that should have been impossible. Their formation was unlike anything seen in galactic warfare, a three-dimensional matrix of overlapping fields of fire and defensive screens. The Veil fleet has entered the Proxima system, Tactical reported. They're deploying into standard combat formation. Chen nodded. They're still fighting the last war. Launch Operation Shadowfall. Throughout the Proxima system, automated platforms that had been dormant for years suddenly activated. Quantum fields disrupted Veil sensors, while advanced ECM systems fed false data to their tactical networks. The aliens found themselves fighting blind, their supposedly superior technology rendered useless by human countermeasures. Multiple quantum signatures detected, sensors announced. The Veil are calling for reinforcements. Right on schedule, Santos said, her hologram flickering with barely contained satisfaction. Activate Phase 2. Chen gave the order that humanity had been preparing to give for 3 decades. All ships, execute jump sequence Alpha. Show them what Earth can really do. The human fleet moved as one. Thousands of quantum drives engaging simultaneously in a display of coordination that would have been impossible with the technology the Veil thought humans possessed. They emerged from quantum space in perfect attack formation, surrounding the Veil fleet in a three-dimensional sphere of overwhelming firepower. Open all frequencies, Chen commanded. Let them hear us. His voice echoed across every Veil communications channel. This is Fleet Admiral Victor Chen of the Terran Defense Force. For 30 years, you've believed us to be primitive, inferior, worthy only of your patronizing guidance. Today, that illusion ends. The human fleet opened fire with weapons that shouldn't have existed. Quantum-tipped missiles phased through Veil shields as if they weren't there. Gravitic beams twisted space itself, crushing Veil ships like paper. Advanced AI systems predicted and countered every alien tactic before it could be executed. Impossible, the Veil fleet commander transmitted, their usual arrogance replaced by dawning horror. Your species, you couldn't have hidden this level of technology. We did more than hide it, Chen responded. We improved upon everything you thought you were teaching us. Every trade agreement, every technological exchange. We were studying you, learning your weaknesses, preparing for the day you showed your true nature. The battle quickly became a rout. Veil ships, designed to fight enemies using known technology, found themselves facing weapons and tactics they couldn't understand, let alone counter. Their formations broke apart under the relentless human assault. Admiral, Santos' hologram interjected, we're detecting quantum signatures from multiple Veil core worlds. They're mobilizing their entire fleet. Chen's expression hardened. Good. Signal all hidden bases throughout their territory. Execute Operation Prometheus Phase 3. Across Veil space, seemingly innocent human trading posts and cultural centers revealed their true nature. Quantum beacons activated, disrupting Veil fleet movements. Automated defense platforms emerged from hiding, cutting off critical supply lines and communication nodes. Send the final message, Chen ordered. Let them understand exactly what they've awakened. Throughout Veil space, every communication system received the same transmission. For generations, we prepared. While you saw weakness, we built strength. While you offered patronizing guidance, we surpassed your every achievement. You thought humanity needed to be taught its place in the galaxy. Instead, you're about to learn yours. The art of deception. Supreme Commander Zarlak of the Veil Collective stood in the central chamber of the High Command, watching as reports of devastating losses poured in from across their territory. The holographic displays showed scene after scene of impossible defeat, human forces wielding technology that shouldn't exist, executing strategies that defied conventional warfare. How? He demanded, his crystalline form pulsing with agitation. How did we miss this? High Strategist Vertel manipulated the tactical displays with trembling appendages. They deceived us completely, Supreme Commander. Every assessment we made, every conclusion we drew, it was all part of their plan. The displays showed footage from dozens of battles, human ships moving with impossible precision, their weapons bypassing Veil defenses as if they weren't there. Quantum communications networks that the Veil thought impenetrable were being hacked and subverted with ease. Show me the historical analysis, Zarlak ordered. New images appeared, decades of human development, carefully re-examined. What they had interpreted as primitive spacecraft were actually advanced vessels in disguise. Supposedly simple mining operations had been cover for massive military installations. Even human cultural centers scattered throughout Veil space had been hiding sophisticated surveillance systems. Their entire civilization was a masquerade, Vertel explained. While we thought we were guiding their development, they were studying us, learning our weaknesses, preparing for this moment. On Earth, Admiral Santos stood in the Strategic Command Center, directing humanity's grand revelation. Holographic displays showed the Veil Empire crumbling under precisely calculated strikes. Each attack demonstrated a different aspect of human advancement, systematically destroying the Veil's sense of superiority. "Status of Operation Mindweaver?" she asked. "Proceeding as planned," her intelligence chief reported. "Our quantum AI systems are decoding their military networks faster than they can encrypt them. The psychological impact is significant." Santos nodded. This too had been part of the plan, not just defeating the Veil militarily, but shattering their worldview. Every victory was choreographed to reveal another layer of human capability, another piece of the decades-long deception. In deep space, Admiral Chen's fleet continued its advance. The Hyperion's quantum sensors detected a massive Veil battle group, attempting to form a defensive line around their core worlds. "They're adapting to our basic tactics," his tactical officer reported, "implementing countermeasures based on our initial attacks." Chen smiled. "Just as predicted. Signal all ships. Execute Phase 4. Show them what we've been holding back." The human fleet suddenly shifted tactics, their formations flowing like liquid metal into entirely new configurations. Ships previously acting as support vessels revealed themselves as advanced battlecruisers. Weapons that had seemed powerful but comprehensible were replaced by systems that bent reality itself. "Message from Veil High Command," communications announced. "They're requesting a ceasefire." "Put them through," Chen ordered. Supreme Commander Zarlak's hologram appeared on the bridge, his crystalline form dimmed with defeat. "Why?" Zarlak asked, his usual arrogance replaced by genuine bewilderment. "Why maintain this deception for so long? Why not simply reveal your true strength?" "Because we learned from history," Chen replied. "Every advanced civilization that openly displayed its power became a target. Instead, we chose to be underestimated. While you saw what you expected to see, a primitive species struggling to reach the stars, we built something unprecedented." Santos's voice joined the conversation from Earth. "Every patronizing lesson you offered was absorbed and improved upon. Every technology you thought you were carefully controlling was reverse-engineered and enhanced. We turned your arrogance into our greatest advantage." The displays showed more human ships emerging from quantum space, each revealing new capabilities that the Veil had never imagined possible. Their entire understanding of physics and warfare was being rewritten with each passing moment. "Your civilization spans galaxies," Zarlak said. "You could have been empire builders." "We chose a different path," Santos responded. "We remembered Earth's history. How often the seemingly weak overcame the powerful through preparation and strategy. We didn't want to build an empire. We wanted to ensure humanity would never be subjugated." Chen watched as more Veil formations surrendered, their will to fight broken not just by superior firepower, but by the psychological impact of realizing just how completely they had been deceived. "You thought you were teaching us about the galaxy," he transmitted. "In reality, you were showing us exactly how not to reveal our true nature." Dawn of a new era. The Great Hall of Earth's Unity Complex buzzed with tension as representatives from 30 galactic civilizations gathered for the first interstellar concordat. Admiral Santos stood at the speaker's podium, her dress uniform gleaming under the artificial lights. The past month had reshaped the galaxy's political landscape more dramatically than the previous 1,000 years. "The age of deception is over," she began, her voice carrying across the vast chamber. "But so too is the age of dominion." Among the assembled delegates, the Veil representatives sat quietly, their crystalline forms dulled by the weight of recent events. Supreme Commander Zarlak, now serving as their chief diplomat, watched with a mixture of respect and lingering disbelief. "Humanity's revelation has shaken the foundations of galactic society," Santos continued. "Many of you are wondering, what happens next? What does Earth plan to do with its proven superiority?" The room fell silent. Some species had already offered unconditional surrender, while others had sought immediate alliances. All of them were waiting to learn humanity's true intentions. Admiral Chen, standing at the back of the hall, activated his neural link to the global defense network. Across the solar system, humanity's full military might remain on display, a reminder of the power that had hidden in plain sight for so long. "We choose cooperation over dominion," Santos declared. "Earth has demonstrated not just technological superiority, but the wisdom to use that power responsibly. We could have revealed ourselves through conquest. Instead, we acted only when forced to defend ourselves." Holographic displays activated throughout the hall, showing the true extent of human advancement. Quantum engineering that made veil technology look primitive. Medical breakthroughs that could revolutionize life across the galaxy. Clean energy systems that could transform dying worlds. This knowledge, Santos gestured to the displays, will be shared, not as a tool of control, as the veil attempted, but as a foundation for genuine collaboration. Zarlak rose, his voice carrying the formal tones of diplomatic protocol. "The collective acknowledges its errors. We mistook patience for weakness, preparation for primitive development. Humanity has taught us humility. And what have you learned from this humility?" Santos asked, though she already knew the answer. "That true strength lies not in displaying power," Zarlak responded, "but in knowing when and how to use it." The chamber erupted in discussion as Santos laid out Earth's proposal, a new galactic order, built not on dominion but on mutual respect and genuine cooperation. Human technology would be shared, but with safeguards to prevent its use for conquest or oppression. In orbit, the TSS Hyperion maintained its watch as Chen observed the proceedings through his neural link. The ship's quantum sensors detected trading vessels from a dozen worlds already adopting human innovations, not given as patronizing gifts, but shared as equals. "Admiral," his XO reported, "we're detecting quantum signatures from the galactic core. The elder species are finally responding to our revelation." Chen smiled. Even the oldest civilizations in the galaxy have been forced to reevaluate their understanding of power and progress. Humanity's strategy had not just reshaped military doctrine, but the very nature of interstellar relations. Back in the Great Hall, Santos concluded her address. "Earth's deception served its purpose. It protected us until we could ensure our survival. But humanity's greatest strength was never in our hidden fleets or advanced technology. It was in our ability to learn from history, to plan for the long term, and to understand that true power lies in choosing when not to use it." The assembly rose in acknowledgement. The galaxy was entering a new era, one shaped by the species that had pretended to be weak while growing strong, that had absorbed punishment while building power, that had learned from everyone who underestimated them. As the delegates began their deliberations on the new galactic charter, Chen received a final transmission from Earth Command. Across human space, hidden facilities were being repurposed. Shipyards that had built engines of war now prepared to construct vessels of exploration. Weapon research centers transformed into hubs of scientific cooperation. Humanity had proven it could hide its strength. Now it would prove it could use that strength to build rather than destroy. The deception was over, but its greatest legacy would be a galaxy united not by fear of human power, but by respect for human wisdom. In the end, humanity's greatest victory wasn't in the battles they won, but in the peace they chose to build. The species that had mastered the art of appearing weak had taught the galaxy the true meaning of strength. The stars stretched out before them, no longer hiding places for humanity's secrets, but beacons lighting the way to a future they would all build together.